Good evening. Welcome to the Solon Planning Commission for August 15, 2017. We'd like to start with a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks everyone for coming. I'd like to have the roll call now.
Mr. Bentley?
Here.
Mayor Drucker?
Here.
Mr. Mazur?
Here.
Mr. Newberry?
Here.
Mr. Palunas?
Here.
Next item is if we're changes to the agenda. There are no changes to the agenda. We're going to roll through them here relatively quickly and pay due diligence to all the ones we need to as normal. Right now I'd like to ask if there are any comments from the audience regarding any agenda item. So that means if you're not a party to the actually agenda item and you have something, say your neighbor or something like that, and wants to talk about an agenda item, now would be a great time to come up and talk about it. Please come on up here to this. Yep. And give us your name and address. If you have any show and tells, there's a yellow box there. You can put them in. All the way up. Yep.
So we're the Kleinman family. I'm Jeff Kleinman. We live at 34640 Lakeview Drive, and we will have some questions regarding number 13. One question I don't really understand the legalities of everything. There are 3 variances here. I would like to get a little more explanation about what that means, and as owners of the adjoining property, where we can fit in terms of input to that.
Great. You're the neighbor right to the north there?
Right, yeah, right adjacent
there.
to it.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, because some of our questions are dealing with you too, so perfect.
Good.
Rob, do you want to explain all of the what the different variances are and why?
Well, the proposal was to build a 30 by 20 pavilion for the use of the HOA on the common property. The variances would be for minimum front yard setback. It's required to be a minimum of 100 feet from the front street right-of-way line, and it actually would be 42 feet, so that would be a 58-foot difference, a variance for that. Also be a variance for the side yard setback. That's the setback from your side property line. Required to be 50 feet from that property line. It would be 37 feet from the property line, so it would need a 13-foot variance. And then the final variance is that the front of the building's required to be parallel to the street, and it's actually turned at an angle. So those would be the 3 variances.
Okay. And then after this matter is reviewed, will we have the opportunity to make comments and further input concerning our concerns about it that may come up?
Yeah, this will be reviewed by planning and council, and the chairman would have the ability to let you speak further.
Okay, so we would probably like to do that after.
Sure. So after you're done and after we're done and we go through and we get to the item number 13, they're going to present and then we're going to vote on it.
Okay, so I guess what the first thing we have a question. We really have concerns about the side variance because we feel the existing plan is going to be too close to our home, and we would like to see another proposal to have it either moved over or downsized so that it doesn't, it doesn't infringe on our property, basically, or come too close to our property.
Thank you. I understand. Definitely.
I don't really have anything else.
That's all? Okay. Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming up. It's very
you.
important that, that all citizens get involved and speak their mind. Thank you for coming up. We appreciate it. Thank you. Now, was there anyone else that wanted to talk on this item or any other item that we have as an item? No, I don't see none. We've got Councilman Couture is here, and I was remiss. I should have recognized him for coming in my opening statement. Thank you for coming. Councilman Couture is here, so thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Now we will move on to the minutes for January 25th.
July?
Whoa.
I'll move to approve the minutes from July 25th.
He's got some, he needs to put them on.
I know I have.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to have a vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. We'll start with our pending agenda items, and the first 3, number 1, 2, and 3, are dealing with the widening of Som Center Road in order to alleviate some traffic issues there. So we took some property from those, from actually everyone on one side of the street, and we are going to widen the street. When we widened the street, we made their lots a little smaller, Therefore, they had to come back and get some variances to make their lots comply again. The first one is Sprint, second one is Arby's, third one's Dunkin' Donuts. We're gonna table those three. I just wanna give you some background on it. We're gonna table those three. So I'll just go ahead and start. The first agenda item is 6465 Sound Center Road. This is a Sprint lot.
Move to table?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Next agenda item is 6375 Sound Center Road. This is the Arby's lot.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to have a vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
And the last one is 6353 Sound Center Road. This is the Dunkin' Donuts lot.
Move to table Dunkin' Donuts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. Our next.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Before our next meeting, I will contact Attorney Todd Hunt's office and see where they're at with these issues, to see how long anticipated, whether it makes more sense to put them on inactive, or if they're imminent, if they're going to be resolved pretty quickly, then we'll keep them on. So.
Excellent,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you. All right, Lily, thank you. All right, so our next agenda item is 33565 Bainbridge Road. This is Eagle Creek Press. This has to do with some signs. Gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for coming again.
My name is Harold Hughes, 5461 Pine Lane.
My name's Dale Finelli, 33565 Bainbridge Road.
Okay, we had submitted some signs to the
Get your
safety,
thing out of the way here.
and this is what they had approved.
So you can see.
Sure.
Mhm. All right. Access to dance studio, parking for that lot. Access to- I can't read the small one, that's okay. So I guess I can start here, and how many signs are we talking about here? How many signs for the whole lot, for the whole site?
I'm probably going to have just ones on the entrances, okay? On Solon Road and on Bainbridge Road. One each.
So point to me where you.
Right here,
Uh-huh.
okay? And, where am I?
I think you're upside down.
Yeah, I think you are upside down.
Okay.
That'll-
That will help, okay? Here, back on Solon Road, two here and two here, and I'm gonna have a couple tollways in front on either side,
What did you call those now?
tollways.
Okay. So, the one on Bainbridge Road there, you said there are gonna be two there. You've also, it looks like you've got a line coming down to the other entrance down there. It looks like are there gonna be two? Okay, so I just wanna get a count. So,
There's gonna be probably three of the access,
okay,
okay? Okay, and probably 4 or 5 of the tollway. Okay, my plan is to do a minimum signage unless I have some issues.
Mr. Chairman,
please.
are there accessible parking places delineated on this site?
What do you mean?
Handicap?
Yes,
They are?
right here. Okay,
On the end?
yes,
Okay.
and here. Okay,
Okay, as long as we can't have the parking enforcement signs in the way of those signs.
no, won't be.
All right, so two different kinds of signs I'm reading here. I'm
Yes.
understanding. You're gonna have the permanent signs that are, embedded, and then you call them tollways, or,
Yeah, right.
right? And those are the ones you can move manually and just pick them up and move them around?
Probably,
Or,
okay. or in the ground at the fronts and at the backs.
Because my question is, I'm looking at, I've got the one you're looking at there, and I've
Right.
got, where the signs are highlighted. It looks like I counted like 15 signs on there.
I'm
at one
looking
point.
at probably putting 2 on the walls here, okay, and 2 here.
So the ones on the
Bainbridge
walls
Road.
are permanent?
Right, they'll be
All
permanent.
right, so I need to know the count of permanent signs that we're gonna put on, I mean,
And there will be some on this wall that will be
back there too?
permanent.
Okay. So, I could ask again, do we know how many permanent signs we're gonna put on there? We just need to know a number, because,
Probably the three of the no access and probably 5 of the tollway.
Mr. Chairman, if he's going to put signs along Bainbridge Road, you need to be sure that they're actually on your property.
They will
Because
be.
I believe the curb line there on the parking lot is the right-of-way line.
Yes, they will be.
Okay, so they'll be in the parking space. Okay.
Okay, okay.
oh, all right, okay, I'm still confused, guys, I'm slow, I just,
That's,
you know,
no, that's all right. I wanna make
So
sure
how
you-
many permanent signs we gonna have?
Well, when you say permanent, do you mean affixed to the building?
Or into the ground, right?
Okay. Well, they're all gonna be either affixed to the building or in the ground.
Well, he told me that the tollways, you call them, those can be moved?
No,
I think he means the authority to tow the car.
Oh, the
Yeah.
actual verbiage is gonna
Yeah.
say tollway. Okay,
Right.
so all the signs are gonna be affixed to something permanently?
yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so now I counted, like I said, well, it's down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, almost 15 signs here. Engineering has a comment?
I just wanted to comment, and if any of the signs are placed along Bainbridge Road, they would have to be outside of the right-of-way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In the
Now, I don't think there are going to be 15 signs. There's going to be 3 here, 3, 3, and 3, 12 of the tollway.
I
And
rounded,
then three of the
No
access
access,
signs.
right.
That's 15.
I don't have a problem with you putting signs up, for your property, I really don't. I think that's a lot, personally. I think that's just a lot of signs up for it. It's, and I understand what's going on here. But I think, my only,
Then I'll reduce it
question
to
is.
2 tollways, okay, with arrows, and I can accomplish that.
That'd be a total of how many then?
2, 4, 6, 8, 11.
That'd be 11 total signs then?
I mean, we all know why these signs are going in, and the whole idea of this signage program just eats at me, as I've mentioned to you before. I don't think that these signs are there for safety or security. I think they're there for spite. And it bothers me.
Thank you. So like I said, I really don't have a problem with you putting signs up there, but I really still think that even 11 is a lot. I'm not, I'm hoping that we can come to some kind of consensus here to make this palatable for everybody up here okay? But 11 still seems like a lot to me.
Well, do you have some idea in mind? I mean, I have to tell you
I can't.
that as was predicted when we were in here the last time, there's already been parking problems in the front of the building. I mean, there's several tenants in the front of the building, a barber shop. I forget what the other guy does. But the spots have been taken up by people using the dance studio where they're not supposed to be. And if I call him Joe the barber, doesn't have his people parking in front to walk into his barber shop, they're not coming there. They're going someplace else. So it's not for spite, it's to protect Eagle Creek's property so that Eagle Creek tenants can park on Eagle Creek property.
I understand 100%, and
Yeah.
I'm all for that, and I understand that.
And if you don't think if you think 11 is excessive, we'd be interested to hear what you think might be reasonable. Maybe from Mr. Franklin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I looked at this, and I watched the meeting where it went to safety, and I think you have a building that you own that has a lot of tenants in there, and a lot of different tenants. You have a barber shop, which generates probably, a couple cars an hour, 4 or 5 cars an hour, you figure. You have a real estate company and a lot of other attorneys and other companies that are in there. So each one of them has to have a certain amount of parking attributed to those stores. So I understand what you're doing here. And you're coming to this committee to get permission to put these signs in. I don't really see a problem putting the signs in. I have no problem with that. I think that I don't know who we are up here to say this is too many or too few or anything else. You're the property owner, you're there every day, you're managing this building, I assume, correct? So yes? And I think that if you feel this is an appropriate amount of signs, if we feel it's too many, it's kind of an arbitrary thing. Are we going to throw out and say, Mr. Finelli, you can only have 8 signs or 6 signs? I mean, I don't know what the difference really is besides the 2 signs.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, Mr. Plunas, that I'm not sure there's a whole lot of authority to tell Mr. Hughes how many signs to put up, but we're trying to be cooperative so there's not a problem with the city. We're just trying to be a good neighbor, to have parking spots for the tenants of that building, and but not make it obnoxious for the city. I mean, we don't want to have this property become a giant billboard. So we're just trying to get some feel here. We're at 11 signs from 15 that will make it workable.
I mean, anything else is us just throwing numbers out there
Well,
and
I
saying,
agree.
not
I
gonna do that.
agree,
We're
but
not
we're
gonna
just-
do that.
and saying,
Can't do
okay,
that.
well, can we agree on 8? Can
Can't
we
do
agree
that.
on 4? Can we agree on 6? I mean, it's just, there's no
Well,
rhyme or reason for doing
I
it.
think Mr. Hughes is telling you that that there's gonna be 11 so that you don't see 20 signs up there.
You also,
We're not trying to be silly about it.
you also have the sense that too many signs takes away from the beauty of the building. Okay, so it's in my interest to put as few as will do the job, is what I'm looking for.
I understand 100%. And we can't, I'm not gonna tell you how many signs, but I can't do that. That's just not our responsibility and our, call to make. That's something that you'd have to work out with, yourselves and the staff. But I will also throw out there that, I'm not sure those signs are gonna stop some lady who's bringing her daughters to dance and they're 5 minutes late because of the younger baby. I could throw a scenario out there and you guys could all understand it, right?
But also, I can't let the mother that can't schedule her time interfere with the customers coming
I
to my
understand.
building.
Catch-22, right? Sure.
It's a catch-22.
It is.
It's not gonna be
And-
foolproof, and we know
Right.
what you're saying. It's not gonna necessarily keep everyone away, but it's an effort to just advise.
And the dance
What-
studio has gone on record where there is assigned parking beside the adjoining building. It's these people that choose not to adhere to her rules. And that's all I'm trying to enforce,
I understand.
is
I
her
understand.
rules,
Yeah.
okay, and not affect my clientele.
Okay, so, a couple of things we can do here. We could go ahead and close it up and take a vote, or you could try and revisit it again, maybe, and then,
How is it going to change?
I guess
We should decide tonight. They've been back here 2 or 3 times already on this.
Okay.
But I just think that, I just don't know how to throw out a number and say this is what you're gonna
we
have.
can't do that. Yeah, we can't do that.
I just think we have to approve the signs and make sure they're not in the right of way and everything else,
And I've got to ensure that they don't take away from the aesthetics of the building.
And we have fire department, everybody else has approved it, right?
Right, right.
It appears.
I mean, it has been approved by police and fire, as far as I know. I think they had some input into this. I can't even recall from the safety committee meeting, but I believe they had some input to it.
They approved the verbiage, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It
And
appears.
and noted that the signs are legal and that the city will have no responsibility for enforcing them.
Right.
Right.
It's all private.
It appears the applicant is currently asking for a package that includes 11 signs, so I would suggest that the commission were inclined to someone make a motion.
I will move to approve a revised site plan to permit up to 11 additional directional signs and parking assignment signs, with the contingency that none of the signs be within the right-of-way or beyond the property lines of the Eagle Creek Press.
Second.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
No.
Mayor Drucker?
No.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
No.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
3 noes and 2 yes.
There was one more. Oh, is that the only one? That was the only one. Okay, so Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Oh, I'm on the wrong one here. Your item has not passed. There are appeal processes that we can go through that you can get the information from the departments, so how to appeal.
We'll send a letter.
Okay.
The clerk will notify the applicant, whoever.
Appeal process.
Of the appeal process.
Yeah. All right,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go here. All right, the next agenda, these are new agenda items now. So our first new agenda item, there are kind of three of them together here. It's 5265 and 5275 Naaman Parkway. Gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Bob Vellarelli, representing Raintree Holdings LLC. My address is 5265 Naaman Parkway.
My name is Paul Gallagher. I represent Fast Signs of Lyndhurst. The address is 5369 Mayfield Road in Lyndhurst. We are
Excellent.
doing the signage for this project.
Excellent.
So we're requesting a variance for two items. One item is for having two signs on the same parcel. At the present time, you're not allowed to have two signs on the same parcel. We happen to have two buildings on the same parcel, two large buildings. So we need a sign for each building because they're a multi-tenant building, as well as the color of the sign. The requirement is to have a sign the same color as the building. The blue and white color, or blue and gray color, has been with Raintree Park for almost 22 years. It was originally done back in the Architectural Review Board days with, in this very room. So,
Excellent. So just doing the first one. If you can zoom in on the picture on the left here, it shows the one site with the two buildings on it.
That's
Oops,
correct.
wrong way. Go the other way. Oh, go the other way. Or move. Yeah. Okay. See where it's bubbled? Yeah.
that shows the two.
Exactly. That's it right there.
This
Right.
drawing we'll be using for each of those items.
Exactly. All right.
If
So,
you-
so you
if
got
you-
the two buildings there. So it's on one lot, but you want a sign in front of each building.
That's correct.
Understood, and that's, yeah, for sure. Now, let's talk about the color here for a second. The color doesn't match because it was 25 years, and you wanted to keep it the same color after 25 years?
All of the, if you've ever been to Raintree Park, the main entry sign is the blue and the silver. And our tenant signs, all the tenant signs were required to be the same, having a blue, they can zoom in on that other one for us. Right. That's just an example of one of the signs that goes on the building. All of the signs of 58 tenants, they have the same sign on each one of the buildings for each one of our suites. And we've been very fortunate in the last 4 or 5 months. We've gotten a lot of tenants coming in to Raintree Park. And this sign, the actual sign in each one of the parcels and the color, it's going to go in the same level as all the rest of the signage. And life and safety makes it a lot easier to get to each one of the suites.
Okay, please.
Mr. Chairman, with these lots, these two signs are gonna go kind of centered in front of the building, facing Naaman Parkway? Is that
They'll
the
be
idea?
facing on a slight angle.
So you can see them as you're
So
driving
you
down
can
the
see them as
parkway?
you can drive, so you don't have to really slow down.
Okay, so the reason I asked the question is because, as I recall, there's a central driveway that goes into the court between those two buildings, and there's a driveway on the north side and a driveway on the south side.
There's an island in front of the building, but there's not an island in the apron. Am I making that clear? Sorry.
Yes. So if I'm driving down the street and I'm looking for something that's in, was it
5265?
5275.
Right.
I have to drive past the sign to get to the driveway.
You're gonna go, good point. You're gonna go past the sign, because in front of the sign is the back of the building. And you'd have to go past the sign and have.
Okay.
And on the building as well, we've had our original letters, our black letters on the building that would describe that. It'll be a lot easier to find it if you have some type of menu to look at.
I guess my suggestion, and it's just a suggestion, would be to pull those two signs apart so they're closer to the access driveways, the driveways that a visitor is supposed to go in, as opposed to directing
That's a good
somebody
idea.
into
We
the
can-
court in between the two buildings.
So what you're saying is, I need this drawing now.
Can we have the
Overhead.
document
Overhead,
camera?
please.
Oh, I'll move it. That's an even better idea.
Yeah, move it into the, there you go.
This is the front of this building, the
Correct.
north side.
Yep,
This is the front of this building, so this sign, we can move closer to this access.
exactly.
Makes perfect sense, sure.
Thank you.
And this is same with this
Exactly,
one.
yep, mhm.
This sign to be moved down to here because this is the front of the building, and this sign is the front of the building on this side.
See,
Good point.
It took me
Didn't even think
24
of that.
years, but I finally talked some sense into this man.
And
Thank
he's right
you.
about that
Thank
20-plus
you.
years.
Thank you. All right. Good points. Thank you, Mr. Newberry. Yeah. mhm.
And if I don't, no one else has any other comments, I will move to approve the number of permitted freestanding ground signs for 5265 and 5275 Naaman Parkway.
Second?
There's a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve sign design review for 5325 Naaman Parkway.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Wait, I'm sorry, you said 5325, we're still on
5265,
265,
5275.
5275. We're still
Oh,
on
sign
this one.
review, I'm sorry, yeah, I jumped ahead.
What he said.
Sort of.
And there's only
With
one
the
sign,
correction
just
of
so you
the
know.
address.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we have a motion and a second on the corrected item here, I believe. So,
Do we address?
Yes.
Yes, with the two addresses,
the
right?
two addresses.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ready?
So, we'd like to have a vote, please, yes.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Excellent.
Good. Then following on with that, I'd be pleased to make a motion for a sign design review for 5325.
Okay, so I need to open it up again and do
Okay,
the
I'm
whole
sorry.
thing again. No big deal, sorry. Just so everyone knows, that there's 3 buildings right in a row, 3 lots right in a row, so we have to address each of them individually. So we did the first one, now we're doing the second, exact same thing, but we just have to do it because there's 3 different lots. So,
Mr. Bentley,
Yes.
excuse me. So the first one is for the color is accepted, and
Yes.
the sign itself is accepted.
everything
Got it.
passed.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Excellent, no
Colors
problem.
colors are good.
Yep. And the next agenda item is 5325 Naaman Parkway. It's right next door to this one. And,
Right.
well, we can go ahead and, we talked about it already, so.
I'll
you guys.
I'll move for sign design review for 5325 Naaman Parkway.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Excellent. I'd like to, so that one passes well. We have one more. The third lot on that site is 5351 Naaman Parkway.
I'll make a motion to approve the sign design review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to have a vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for coming. Congratulations, you passed.
Thank you.
And you need to come to the city council meeting on
Right.
August 21st.
That's Wednesday, next Wednesday?
Monday.
Next Monday.
And it's come to the caucus room, and they'll talk to you in there about
Yes,
what you
sir.
need to do. You've done it before, yeah.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Have a good
Appreciate
evening.
it.
And I should mention in here somewhere that on August 28th, the planning commission meeting is canceled on August 20th. Oh, I have it. Well, 29th.
Tuesday.
These aren't strong enough. These are mine. They're not even strong
I'm
enough.
sorry.
It isn't. It's not your fault, it's mine. Okay, so next agenda item is for 7650 Royal Port Rush Drive. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome back.
Hello. I'm Gary Cohen, the property owner of 7650 Royal Port Rush Drive. This is our builder, Sam Papa.
I'm Best Value and Quality Inc. My name is Salvatore R. Papa. I've been building since 1994, and our first home was in Solon. We're proud of that. We're here today to do a variance on this house. We'd like to move it back 22 feet from the rear setback.
Do you have a site plan? There it is. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, so everyone can see, point out where the road is, where actually the road is, and then where the house is, and I think it becomes very
This
clear
is-
why.
I'm gonna try to push this up. This is Royal Port Rush Drive. And as you see over here, there's another house to the right of it.
Okay.
It's 42A. You can see that. There, 42A, the neighbor's house.
Mm-hmm.
And we pushed it back so we were even with the other house. It's more aesthetic and that's what our request for today.
And the second reason was so that we're further away from the golf cart path, so that we don't get in the way of anybody back there.
You see Mr. Bentley out here.
Running by your house, waving at you. We don't have, I guess we can't show, you know, the 42A where their driveway comes up, but it would be, you know, make it abundantly clear to everybody.
I could draw the, I could show you my
No,
finger.
this is, yeah.
Does that look right, going up there?
Yeah.
And then what happens, the curve's over here, it goes, actually, their garage is over here, and it goes in that way. So it's almost mirrored to the other driveway, which is kind of
Sure,
cool.
sure.
Everything's in line by moving it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. House is humongous. Oh, that one's even bigger. Wow. Okay, thank you. Do I need to share this?
Unless you, only if you think
Okay.
it's important, yeah.
No. I think that I understand the difficulties of the site that you're dealing with. Thank you for coming, moving, being a neighbor. But we can, and I understand, you know, it's just a difficult site there to deal with, trying to make everything fit in there. And so you also, there's some issues. You got to build some culverts and stuff like that over there to get down in the driveway to get down there.
Yeah, we put the culvert in.
Yeah. That's just that's a tough
It's a very
site.
difficult-
Beautiful.
beautiful lot. It's very
Oh, absolutely
difficult.
beautiful
Sewer,
back there.
yes.
And I think you'll be safe. You shouldn't be hit by any golf balls. It's that bad. I know I'm a pretty bad golfer, but I could.
But if I get hit.
I would have to try to hit Gary's house if I was going to do that. But it's a beautiful site. Commission members, anything?
Mr. Chairman?
Please.
I just want to state for the record, you're aware that there's a sanitary sewer easement on the property? Yes?
Way out of culvert, yeah.
And you're going to, part of the driveway is going to be over the sanitary sewer easement?
Yes.
Okay, and you understand, and I think you executed an agreement in the last iteration or previously that if any part of that driveway would have to be
Excavated.
any work done on the sanitary sewer easement on the part of the city, the property owner would be responsible for that replacement. Is that, you understand that? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Carrie, anything else? Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
That being said, I'll be happy to make a motion to approve a 22-foot front yard setback variance for 7650 Port Royal Drive. Royal Port Rush Drive. With the contingencies that the easements be in place as previously agreed to.
Second?
Excellent. We have a motion, and you can pick from the seconds there. And we'd like to have a vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you
Very much.
again.
Appreciate that.
August 21st, City Council meeting. Same thing all over again, okay? Thank you, gentlemen. Our next agenda item is 34380 Jacqueline Drive. Ms. Linick, I believe, is here. Hello.
Hello. My name is Victoria Limnik, and I live at 34380 Jacqueline Drive. And we would like to request variance for the shed installation next to the garage. So we're here. So it's on the side of the house. Yeah, we have a larger property, and it looks like this location makes the perfect sense for us. It's the most practical place to install a shed next to the garage because the property has a lot of area where we have standing water after like heavy rains and after springtime. So, and this is the only location to the side of the house where it's actually can be placed. And like next year, we're planning to do deck, and according to the rules, you can't have shed next to the house in the backyard, it has to extend beyond the deck line. And beyond the deck line, it's already standing water.
Mr. Chairman, there actually is no deck back there, correct?
There is no deck. I mean, there is a patio right now. It's almost the same size as the deck we're planning to do. So, but yeah, deck we're gonna do next year. We're gonna apply for the permit next year. The actual patio right now is 15 by 15, I believe, yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, please.
I took a ride out there and looked at this property, and I happened to notice that both neighbors to the left and right have a storage shed in the area that the applicant is saying she can't put it. So and this commission in the past has been pretty steadfast about putting sheds in the front yard. I'm saying front yard because basically that's what it is, rather than be the side yard. So we recently had a situation, I think it was last year in Sherbrooke, where we had to jump through hoops to try to get the shed put in an appropriate place so it wouldn't be obnoxious to the neighbors. So I can't support putting this shed that close to the front yard. So,
But I mean, if it can be on the side and just maybe moved a little bit further from the line of the house itself, maybe like 10 feet further, but next to this to the house. There is an example on our street. It's across the street. We have a neighbor who has a shed next to the house, and it's up front.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. Is that the second picture that you put in the package here?
Yes, here's a picture, yeah.
And,
it's
and
like,
where is this house?
it's across the street, almost, yeah.
So they're not in compliance either.
Yeah, here's a
that
picture.
shed was done well before the ordinance took place, so that shed was
grandfathered.
grandfathered in, so that it's a different situation today than when that was
Yeah, I understand,
installed.
but it doesn't make it look bad. I mean, it looks good.
The other thing I'd point out is that shed is pretty heavily screened, not entirely, but there's a lot of vegetation around that shed, which disguises the fact that it's that close to the front of the house. I share Mr. Mazur's concerns about having the shed this close to the front of the house. And I understand that you don't want to necessarily intrude in the place where you might put a deck, but we have in the past approved sheds in the backyard that close to the house to accommodate decks and patios. As to moving in the shed, sliding the shed back along the house, that's certainly better than having it right up in the front.
Yeah, we definitely can move it to this side, but if you can see on the picture, actually, the property, the house itself is sitting, it's like elevated, it's like a little bit on a hill. And there is elevation, and the water is standing. Our neighbors maybe have different situation, but our house is a little elevated. And the radius around the house, like, there is a sitting water, like every time when we have heavy rains. And we can't, like you can see after the line of the deck, there are shrubs, the heavy shrubs, and
Sure.
my observation, Mr. Chairman, my observation was that the sheds to the left and right of you were on the same plane as your backyard. So I don't see a practical difficulty.
And they're back by the back line.
Yeah.
what do you mean, like where?
Pardon me?
He's saying that your neighbors, all down the same side of you, and have their sheds back in that area where you don't want to put yours. So he's saying that their neighbors have them back there.
Yeah, I think that we always require the applicants to put these sheds in the backyard. I don't really see from looking at the property, I see you say there's standing water here, but your letter basically is saying Solon is in the snow belt. We get a lot of snow during the winter and standing water when it melts during the springtime. So it appears that you just want the shed so it's easier to access your snow equipment. Is that right?
It's one of the yes, it's practical because of a lot of snow. We have a long driveway. It's 75 feet. There's a lot to plow. Yeah, it's easier to access. If you have snow all around the property, there is no way to access the shed to get the equipment.
So that's what that I don't think it's a practical difficulty because the snow blower could be kept in a garage too. So I think that the shed should be located in the backyard, in line with where the other properties have their.
But then we have to build the cement to elevate. I mean, not all properties seated evenly. Our property is a little elevated in comparison to our neighbors. I mean, the place where the house itself is a little elevated, but around the house, it's sitting low.
But there should be ways to address that drainage situation too, in order to put a shed there.
Okay, so I think we should go ahead and I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve, what am I looking at? Accessory building location variance at 34380 Jacqueline Drive.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
No?
Mayor Drucker?
No.
Mr. Mazur?
No.
No.
Mr. Newberry?
No.
Mr. Palunas?
No.
All right, Ms. Linnick, thank you for coming. Unfortunately, your hasn't passed, but you will get a letter talking about how you can appeal. Okay, thank you. All right, next agenda item is 5305 Fairfield Oval. Mr. Chandler.
Good evening.
Thanks.
I'm here requesting a variance.
Name and address, please.
Pardon?
Name and address, please, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Richard Chandler, 5305 Fairfield Oval.
Excellent, please.
Okay, great. I'm here requesting a variance to replace a walkway that's on the side of our house with a poured concrete exposed aggregate stepping stone type of walkway going down there. The closest picture I have to what we have in mind is attached to your packets. And this walkway connects our garage man door with a paver patio that we have behind our deck in the back of the house. And I think the issue is that, let's see, does this show up okay? I've penciled in where the walkway goes from the garage to the patio. And it's about 25 feet from the back property line, which is, I think the requirement now is 40 feet. It was 33 feet when we built the house, and it's 40 feet now.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Any questions from our commission?
I think this will be a great improvement. No matter what you do there, you're never going to meet that variance. Or you're always going to need a variance no matter what you want to do to connect it so you can walk to your backyard. So I fully support what you're requesting.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything? All right, then with that, I will move to approve a 25-foot rear yard setback variance for 5305 Fairfield Oval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
All right, congratulations, Mr. Chandler. You
Thank
will
you.
need to come back and do this August 21st in front of City Council as well.
Right. Thank you all.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is 5935 Liberty Road. Welcome.
Hi, Joe Rick, 5935 Liberty Road. I'm here to request a variance to add a chicken coop, which I've already done. Didn't realize that you needed a variance to get a coop on the property if you had chickens. So with that being said, one of the questions when I was presented with it was, is it an open run? I said it was an open run chicken coop. That doesn't mean it's free range. What it means is it's underneath the coop is the run that houses the chickens, and there's a coop that's sort of built in. There's a picture of the coop right there. And underneath it, you can see the coop is over here on this side over here. This box up above is the coop itself, but underneath it is what they call an open run. And you need about 4 square feet per chicken, depending upon the size of your chicken. I got smaller chickens. So you need about 4 square feet. This is about 56 square feet for 9 chickens. So it's allowing ample room for them to grow and be healthy. This is sort of a front view of that, you know, looking into the coop, and you can see there's a door up there on the left-hand side that allows access for the chickens for a nesting box, and on the right-hand side's an access door for clean out. And this is a picture of the back of the coop. The box above is another access door to clean out, you know, the droppings and everything else out of the stall, so to speak, of the coop. And then, again, that's an access door. And underneath, again, is part of the open run, as they call it, to keep the chickens confined. You don't want them out running around the yard. And this is sort of the location of it next to a shed that I had put in, which I did apply for. And like I said, I didn't realize I needed a variance for the coop. So that's what I'm here for.
Excellent. Please, Mayor.
So the coop can house up to 15 chickens, but how many do you currently have?
9. You're allowed 9.
And you understand that's your maximum?
Right. It's,
Okay.
it's a 30,000 square
Right,
foot
right.
lot.
Okay.
Excellent. And it's not a free range, because that would let them just roam all over the place. It's totally.
No, we did that one time. We let them out one time. Just if someone would have had a video of us trying to catch these things and put them back in the coop, they'd have made a bunch of money. I mean, they really would have.
I've got.
Chickens, so what you're saying is chickens are just like children, they kind of take advantage?
Oh, yeah. And they can fly. Kids can't, you know? Yeah, it was a sight.
So I've got a ton of questions. We've got Mr. Franklin there is a chicken expert. He's been doing chickens for years. Do they taste different than the ones I get from the grocery store?
No, I boost them up with omega-3, though. They're much healthier.
Okay.
The regular ones you get at the store, the yolks are more pale yellow. These are really vibrant yellow. They sit up higher on the albumin. And the fact that I feed them omega-enriched food, I boost up the milligrams of omega-3 to 250 milligrams an egg, which is much healthier for you.
Sure. Fascinating. I might try some of that for me.
Stop over. I'll give you a dozen.
Thank you. Any other comments?
No, Mr. Chairman, as you are well aware, it is my practice to vote no when variances are requested after they've been constructed. This is one of those few exceptions in the past 17 years when I may abandon that practice.
I appreciate it.
I think raising chickens in your backyard is something that's becoming much more popular. I wish you had come to this city first and asked, but
well, I didn't read it. I honestly didn't read it.
Yep.
Bad assumption on my part.
With that being said, no other comments. I'll make a motion to approve additional accessory structure for 5935 Liberty Road.
Second.
We have a motion and 2 seconds to choose from again. We would like to have a vote now.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazer?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palulis?
Yes.
Stop over. We'll make you an omelet.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But you got to come back to and do this in front of City Council on August 21st. Come to the caucus, and then we'll tell you what you need to do from in there.
Okay.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Rick.
You understand that there's so much omega-3 in those yolks that it takes a steel spoon to stir the omelet.
All right, the next agenda item is 33255 Bainbridge Road.
Remember, I'm abstaining from this.
And the mayor is abstaining from this agenda item, which means you will have 4 of us that will vote on it. So.
Good evening. Elliot Barat, 33255 Bainbridge Road. That's a tough act to follow, but I'll do my best. So I'm,
You're up to it, Elliot. I'm sure you're up to it.
Thank you. I'm proposing to construct a 640 square foot, 3-car detached garage at the rear of my office building on Bainbridge Road. I've been advised that I need 3 variances, and I will address all 3. The first variance that I am requesting is that the exterior be clad with white vinyl siding, and basically my office building is white vinyl siding, and all the existing buildings around me white vinyl siding. So it'll match, and that is basically 2 of the variances. One is the vinyl siding, and the second one is that it be white. The third variance is for parking. I currently have 7 parking spaces on my property. I rarely use more than 4 spaces. I don't recall in the last 4 years I've been there that I've used more than 4 spaces. I operate my law practice out of that building. I'm the only tenant in that building, and I have a part-time secretary who comes in twice a week. So as far as the parking spaces, currently I have 7. With the 3-car garage, technically I will have 9. And there's been an indication that if someone parks, for example, right in front of the garage, that I'll lose those 3. However, if I park there and my secretary parks there and I have any clients, the clients are certainly going to leave before I leave. So I don't think that I will be reducing. As a matter of fact, I think even with the 6 spaces and the garage, and even with a car parked in front, and myself and possibly my secretary parking in the garage, I still would have more parking spaces, more than I need, and more than I probably, and more than I have right now.
And as long as he doesn't need to get the snow blower out, he's probably okay.
Snowplow.
Thank you. I love these drawings. They're just, love them. Okay, so. Any questions from commission
Like a
members?
real honest-to-goodness architect did these.
I guess the only question that was raised was what color of the shingles, were they gonna match the house? That was a.
Yes.
Okay.
I will. I think there's black or gray shingles, they'll match.
All right. Hearing no other comments?
The other comment was made from the engineering department that if there's any other additions to the parking lot or expansion, then you may be subject to stormwater management review.
I submitted a letter
Okay.
to the engineer.
Okay, Mayor is abstaining from this one, so we'll have.
I'll make a motion for 3-space on-site parking variance for 33255 Bainbridge Road.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
I'll make a motion for a building material variance to allow vinyl siding.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes, I'll enter a motion for site plan for the
No, building color.
What?
Building color.
For the building color,
Allow white.
to allow the white.
Excellent, thank
I'll
you.
second.
And we have a second and a motion, and we'd like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley? Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to site plan approval for the attached garage with the conditions that shingles match the existing building.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you.
So again, August 21st for City Council and the Congressman, and they'll tell you what to do at that point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Okay, our next agenda item is 34700 Lakeview. This is the Sherbrooke Homeowner Association. Again, Councilman Couture is here as well. It's his council area, so he can speak anytime he wants if he chooses to do so. So, hello.
Hi, I'm Fred Conoval. I live at 34300 Sherbrooke Park Drive. I have for 33 years, and I'm the president of the Homeowners Association.
My name is Dan Dingfelder. I live at 34535 Sherbrooke Park Drive, and I'm on the Board of Trustees, and I'm the head of the Pavilion Committee in the neighborhood. So.
And I'll give you a little background about Sherbrooke, our Homeowners Association. We're governed by bylaws. We have deed restrictions on most of the lots there, and we have an 11-member Board of Trustees. For years, our Board of Trustees has talked about building a pavilion on our lake property, similar to the neighboring lake communities of ours, which are in Sherwood, Briar Hill, and Meadow Lane. Our Pavilion Committee has visited all those pavilions, and we've talked to homeowners there, and who were all happy they built theirs. They said they were a positive influence on bringing the neighborhoods together. Now we've gotten the plans and the monetary details together. Our trustees are overwhelmingly in favor of it, and a vote of all our member homeowners had 82% of those voting in favor of the pavilion. And in fact, 23 homeowners have made extra monetary donations towards this pavilion. Our pavilion's to be the same size as Sherwood's, and the lot variances we need they seem similar to those granted by the city back in 2012. And if memory serves me correctly, their adjacent neighbor had concerns about their pavilion also. But so our story seems very similar. That's the Sherbrooke background for me, and Dan will explain why we chose the lot selection and why we think it's the only logical one.
All right. Okay. This is the site plan. This is north facing here. Whoops. Facing. The blue outline here is the site where we want to put the pavilion. The variances we're requesting have to do with this front setback, this side yard setback, and the parallel to the street variance. We spent a lot of time working on exactly where we wanted to put the pavilion, and there's a lot of things that were considered. I worked with the pavilion committee and with the members of the trustees and with the neighborhood in general. There were several locations considered. The location where we ended up deciding to put it, we felt was the best by far for the entire neighborhood and frankly for the neighbors near the pavilion. Part of the reason we chose here was we have it parallel to the beach. We moved it back. We originally were considering up here or even along here. We moved it back to bring it further from view to the neighbor from the north. If I may, I'd like to show a quick picture, a couple of pictures of that. And this is a view from where the pavilion would be located towards the northwest. A lot of vegetation and fairly well covered with cover. And this is the same location going northeast. There's one window that's exposed, somewhat covered. By moving it here and putting it in that location, we were able to keep it out of the view of that window and try to open it up to everybody else. We could have maybe chosen along here, but then that actually would create a bigger view for the neighbor to the north. Anything over on this side would have opened it up to views from the neighbors across the street, which I can show you. And as well, there's a practical difficulty. There's an electric line running across from here to here.
And the trees.
And the trees. Oh, yeah, and I didn't mention the trees. By leaving it where it's at, it's also nestled behind a group of tall pine trees or tall evergreen trees that essentially block the view going to the east. So.
And we won't have to disturb any of the existing trees that are there.
There's, yeah, we're placing it between three large trees. I can't even slide it over a little bit because there's a tree right here that it would run into. And we wanted to put it in front of the beach where, you know, parents could watch their kids while they're swimming. It just was the ideal location from our perspective of putting it, and frankly from, I think, the neighbors. I'll give you an example. This is an aerial, a little higher up view of the property. And there are several houses along this side. We were trying to keep it so that it's behind that row of trees for those people and moving it up here so that it's away from the windows on this property and not over here where it would be in view of those guys. There are only two other properties, frankly, that have a clear view of the pavilion. This property here, the Greens actually sent me an email supporting it, which I'd share with you if you need it. And this house here, which happens to be my house, and I'm fully supporting the pavilion. So anyway, those are our reasons for the location. From a construction standpoint, these drawings were done by my son Kyle, who some of you know. He's a degreed mechanical engineer, and I worked with him, and I worked with our construction company, Hoare Construction from Burton, Ohio, to develop the plans. This is just a basic structure. We're designing the pavilion to be both strong and aesthetically nice looking. These are 8x8 rough cut timbers with similar to the Sherwood style, with rough cut timber up on the ceiling. We let me show you another view here. The roof will be architectural asphalt shingles. Be a concrete pad underneath. From the side, it'll have hemlock gables. I mean, that's about it. The wood we're going to use is white oak. With the exception of the ceiling, it'll be tongue and groove pine and board and batten gables on the side. And then one more little detail, colors. Our architectural review board has had a chance to review it, and they've decided to go with what they call riverwood for the main structure here. The ceiling and the gables will be banyan brown. Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so. I mean, if they have questions.
I had all kinds of notes.
We've never
but
done
I
this
probably
before.
forgot half the thing.
It's taken us a long time to build a pavilion, and we
we're,
feel it's important for the shelter of, especially when their family's down there and they live farther away in the development. A rainstorm hits us, lightning storm. It's nice to have a shelter.
Excellent. Thank you. Really quickly, I need to mention that in the beginning of our meeting here this evening, one of your neighbors did come up, one of your homeowners came up and expressed their non-support, I'll say it for this one. I believe he's the neighbor that is right there to the north of the lot. So I need to get that on the record now as well, that they did come and speak.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yes, I need to get that on the record. Okay, Mr. Council.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Presenting this for your first time. The only question I have is, I don't have any objection to this, but the only issue we had with the Sherwood Pavilion that you stated before, are you going to be having electrical with lighting or anything else?
We haven't gone down that path yet. There's lighting on site right now, overhead lighting that's already in place. It hasn't been finally decided if we're going to put lighting in the pavilion. Practically, probably we will, but that hasn't really gone.
The only thing is, I think that we required, when they did the lighting, that it be on a timer and that it, go off at a certain.
So we have a sign out there that our beach closes at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So that 10 o'clock would be the logical time, if it is, if we do have a timer on it.
We could do that, actually.
Yes.
Oh, that was the only point I had.
No, there would be, we haven't talked much about electric yet. That's probably next year's project, but yeah, that would certainly be reasonable.
Yeah, if you do put lighting in there, in addition to the timer, which I would fully support, I would strongly urge you to put recessed lighting in. Some of these new LED fixtures actually disappear into the ceiling, so there's no spill.
I was thinking about up on the rafters up above, shining up towards the ceiling.
Oh, that works.
Really
Okay. So, I should have asked the question first. Are you putting a ceiling under the roof, or is it open?
No, it'll be open.
Okay, much better plan. A lot less place for wasps to hide.
Chairman.
Yeah. Yes.
Just touching on Councilman Palunas and Commissioner Newberry's issue, the photometrics requirements would be the same as they would be for a commercial building. So the spillover is 0 at the property line. The light bulbs can't be visible. I know you'll be attentive to that anyways, but those are the requirements of the zoning code.
Okay.
Thank you. Was there any discussion of maybe screening the family to the north there with some additional, you've got that nice row of...
we've discussed it amongst ourselves. We haven't actually, I had called Jeff the other day and wanted to come over and see him, but you never called me back. But, I mean, if we could find a way to do it practically, but I'm just not sure there would be any need. And I don't even know where we would put it. This is a view going towards the water to the, kind of to the northwest. And it's, as you can see, there's a spot where they would be able to see it in the backyard, but it's a very small location. I'm not sure what I would do outside of put a tree right in front of the gate, and if I put a tree in front of the gate, they wouldn't be able to access their lawn equipment because Jeff and Miriam used that to get into there to take care of their yards. And on this side, I don't know where I would and what I would put there. It's already pretty well covered.
What's along Lakeview? What is that row of trees there? Those
Yeah, let me
trees
show
or
you a
those-
picture.
Mhm.
This is the view going towards Lakeview.
Okay.
From the pavilion, and this is actually the trees.
Okay. Wow. That's
So
pretty nice.
they're well screened.
Yeah.
It's and this person over here, Steve. That's me.
I guess my point was, Lakeview, there's very heavily screened. You just showed us, and we,
Right.
Which is the main reason we don't want to move it.
I understand
Right.
that. Right.
If we move it over to the
Kind of nice if you did the same type of
further to the
screening
south.
for your neighbor to the north there.
We would have liked to talk to them about that because if we could arrange any kind of screening, it might do them more harm because it might block their view of the lake out
Right.
that one window. But their main whole focal point of the house looks at the lake.
Mayor?
They have a backyard that's screened.
My concern with any landscaping, I'm just going from the pictures, it looks like you'd have to mount it up for it to have any impact.
It'd
and
have to
I
be
don't
on
know
their
if you-
property, I think.
Right, so I don't know if that would be
Right.
more of a detriment than
mean-
beneficial. And if you plant something new, it's gonna take years before it was mature enough to actually serve as a screen. So I don't know if that's, that's what my take from the pictures. I don't know if there's much you can do. If there is something maybe you can do.
We did look
working
at
with
it,
the neighbor,
and I
then
kinda felt the same way
obviously
as
you
you.
guys are still open to do that. Even if this is approved, then you still can work just amongst yourselves as neighbors if there's some kind of
Yeah,
compromise.
we've
but-
got good relationships
But that
going,
looks,
and we'll try to do what we can.
it just looks like you'd have to really build it up for it to have any impact with screening.
Miriam sat on the board for years, and we're all friends. It's
Good.
good. I mean, I understand
Mhm.
their concern, but it's
Sure.
just, what we do for them, we would have to encompass against somebody else. We have the wires over top, and it was this was our best shot at pleasing everybody.
Looks like you're going the extra mile, so. Any other comments, or? Well, I guess we'll start. I'll be pleased to make a motion for a 58-foot front yard setback variance for 34700 Lakeview Drive.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote now, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
I'll make a motion for a 13-foot side yard setback variance.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to have a vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes. I'll enter a motion for a not parallel to street variance.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Thank you,
Excellent.
everybody.
Congratulations.
Thank you
You've
very much.
passed. Again, August 21st, City Council caucus at 7 o'clock. and
That's 6 days from now, I guess. That's Eclipse Day.
That's right, Monday, that's right, yeah.
Anybody gonna be here? We all gotta be in Kentucky.
Thank you. So our last agenda item this evening is for 33200 Aurora Road. This is the NARA gas station lot.
Hi, my name's Daryl Mapson from Tribe Architects, 1300 East 187th Street.
Mohammed Roban, 7208 Selworthy Lane, Solar.
And we're here proposing new gas station and convenience store in an existing building located at Solon and Aurora Roads. And currently, you can see right here, Solon Road and Aurora Road. We also are proposing a 356 square foot addition at the rear. We're going to completely renovate the exterior, and there will be new pumps out front with a new canopy. We'll have about 20 parking spaces. Some of the site improvements that we're proposing is closing the apron along Solon Road here, which will add some landscaping to the site. We do have underground tanks here. I know a question came up about delivery. Delivery will be off of Aurora Road. The truck will dump its load right here and then back up and turn around and come back out Aurora Road. So that's what the plan is there. We are proposing to have aprovites along the rear of the property where there is an adjacent residence. The mature height of those aprovites is about 10 to 15 feet. And currently there is screening here from trees also. About the building, this is a picture of the existing building right now, and we're going to change the entire look of that. It'll be a new canopy, and we're trying to get into the Western Reserve style, which has been a hope of the township. We've been working closely with the planning department in this process, and as you can see here is a rendering of what the proposal would be. You can see the new canopy, the new pumps, new landscaping, and new exterior to that building, which would be brick, stone accents, canvas awnings, and some accent wall sconces that walk around the building. We've kind of decided on a red brick right now. It kind of shows some dark brick in there, but the palette will be a red brick. Some more views. Here's a view from Aurora Road where we would have a signage right at the intersection there. We're showing lights here right now, but they would be recessed for the final construction documents. Also, here's one last view of the building, which is a close-up of showing what's going on. You can see the red brick stone accents at the entrance. Cornice going around the top, which we echo also in the canopy, and the tan awnings walking around on the windows. There will be food service inside, also coolers and freezers and typical things that you would have in a convenience store. So, go ahead.
There is a light. Robert asking about the canopy lights. He says a lot of people are having concern about the lights, but that light is not going to be used. This is the light is going to be used on the canopy, which is like there is no bulbs, it's LED lights.
Okay, we did bring some samples too, some brick samples.
The other day, me and Robert, we spoke about it, and Robert was suggesting us not to have those two bricks. This is a darker color, this one and this one. The brown reddish color is going to be match with these things. That's what he was saying. And the awning is sample is over here too as well.
Which point of the brick you're using again?
This brick we are using.
And the reddish brown would be the palette.
That's the stone we are using it for the gates or
the accents right here.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, and just to clarify, as Mohammed said, with the two darker colors will be taken out
we
of,
will
out of
take
the
it
mix.
off.
There will be a slight variation, but the blackish looking bricks would not be part of that variation of the building.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
I got one question for you guys. Number 8 says we cannot have a franchise restaurant over there. My question is, I'm going to cook my Mohammed food, Mohammed sandwich. I'm just giving you an example. But tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, a month later on, it becomes like a famous. It becomes famous. I'm just giving an example. Better than Subway or Mr. Hero. Are you guys going to go there and shut down my restaurant?
No, he is.
Because
Yeah,
if I have Mr. Hero now,
I understand. All right.
and later on,
I
if you
understand,
give
we
me
understand. Yeah, it's a good question. We'll understand. Mr. Franklin?
Yeah, and the issue is that having some form of food sales is a customary accessory part of a service station nowadays. That's incorporated into the parking requirement. So when we do a parking calculation for your building, it's at 1 to 200. That takes into consideration folks coming in to buy food, groceries, and also maybe some minor accessory food sales. But when you have a third party, sub shop, whatever, that's a distinct use. So we would then do a calculation for that specific principal use that would be inside your building. So it'd be two principal uses on the property. The parking calculation's different. You probably would have enough parking anyways, but we'd have to calculate it at that time. So what they're doing is they're considering a mobile service station tonight. If there was Subway, whatever, then there would be a second use that would have to do a parking calculation for it.
Yeah, and the answer is no, we're not gonna shut you down.
He was worried.
You just have to come in and talk to us and
no,
yeah.
it's happened. Mr. Hero started with nothing, and they
Sure.
become a famous or popular.
Sure.
And tomorrow might my own recipe comes out famous, and if you come by there, hey, there is not that many cars you cannot park over there, and I work hard to bring that as a famous restaurant.
sure, we
and you told me,
understand.
no, I'm going to shut it down.
Yeah, you just have to come talk to us and we do it the right way. Engineering had a comment?
I actually have a question. If they did put some franchise in the building, would the city require additional approval for the franchise? My concern is a trip generation for something, like Starbucks or something like that.
Yeah, an additional use is an additional use. We're looking at a mobile station with a convenience store. We're not looking at a franchise. So the franchise would be reviewed separately.
I guess it seems to be more a question of scale. Is it a gas station with a little bit of food, or is it a food place with a little bit of, some gas, station? But I guess that's, it's more logical than.
No, I realized it because I've been in Solon last 7 years, 7 to 8 years. And there is a lot of factories. Once they get off from work, or before they go to work, they go to Shell gas station, there is a frozen food. What they do, they just buy it and put it on a microwave and just heat it up. So I was there almost like observing that things almost 10 days. So I asked the customer as well, do you guys really like those food? They said, we don't have any choice. After 12 o'clock, the Solon, everything is shut down. There is no food. So we definitely have to buy this kind of food. I mean, we don't have any other choice. That's the reason I was thinking to put the kitchen in there. It could, or it might help those workers to get some fresh food instead of frozen food.
Sure, I understand. It's a good business model, definitely. That's, that's your private. I like it. What's in that sandwich again? No, we're not. 'Cause I'm interested now. I'm going to be there, so you look for me. All right, so we do have a list of, I want to call these conditions that the planning commission, the planning department came up with. There are 8 of them. Are you guys aware of this list?
Yes.
Perfect. And you're in compliance and you understand them and no problems, right?
Correct.
I'm going to read, just so I can get on the record here, the permanent parcel numbers, the lot consolidation. Permanent parcel numbers 95402-112 and 95402-113. Those are permanent parcel numbers that they're dealing with. They're part of the conditions here. That I just want to get those on the record, so people down the road can say that they've been read into the records. So,
Question, could you detail how you're going to handle the sidewalks that are existing?
That was one thing we didn't mention. We'll be replacing the public.
Overhead screen, over camera, please. Thank you.
Okay. We'll be replacing the public sidewalk, and also we're going to eliminate, there's some sidewalks along the curb line right now, right here and also right here, which we'll be eliminating, and those will become seeded with grass.
Great, that's
Right.
great, thank you.
Okay.
There's small two parts. One
Right.
is sidewalk over here, one sidewalk
Right.
over here. It's going to be removed.
Good.
As part of the scope of work.
Do this conditions of site plan approval.
So bring it down
Yeah.
here.
That's any question I had.
Okay, any others? Okay, well, I think it's been suggested by our attorney that we move this lot consolidation item under the site plan.
Well, lot consolidation isn't really before you. That's one of the conditions. So I would make the suggesting conditions of the planning director, conditions of site plan approval. Contingencies.
Mhm. Okay.
And I guess then I'll start us off with the first variance.
Yep.
All right,
exactly.
then I'll move to approve a 60-foot front yard setback variance for 33200 Aurora Road.
A second?
We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to have a vote, please.
Mr. Bentley? Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
I'll make a motion for a 17-foot side yard setback variance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
I'd make the motion then for a 44-foot rear yard setback variance.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to have a vote, please.
Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes. I'll enter a motion for a 56-foot rear yard setback variance for the dumpster.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to have a vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
I'll move for approval of a building material variance.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
I'll make a motion for a structural color variance for the gas pumps.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Okay, I get to make the motion on a number of signs, which leads me to a question. The canopy that you showed in the renderings
Yes.
shows the mobile logo on both ends of the long end of the canopy, in addition to the mobile on the side elevations. Is it practical possible to eliminate one of those two mobile signs on the north side?
It's 4 of them in there.
Yes, and I'm asking, can we go to 3?
We can eliminate it if you want to. So
I just-
which one you want to?
Okay.
Maybe this one? Mhm.
Well, that one or the one here, slide that picture down a little bit.
This one?
The one here on the north side, right? So I understand the
one-
need, yeah,
one or
I
two of
understand the
these.
need for
Exactly.
one facing east, one facing west, and one facing north, which I would assume you'd want closer to the intersection.
Correct.
This
So-
sign to me seems superfluous.
Right.
We can remove
Okay, we can eliminate this one right
Good
here.
point.
then.
Good point.
I would make a motion then to grant a variance for a number of signs to allow 3.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to allow 3 signs. We'd like to vote?
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes. I'll move to grant the extension of a non-conforming use variance.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we'd like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes?
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Okay, so are you saying, Lon, you want me just to do the site plan and make the lot consolidation a contingency?
I would,
As it is in number 1? So we don't have to.
I would
we don't
suggest,
have to
yeah, site plan
approve a
approval
lot
would be contingent
consolidation.
upon
Okay,
the,
so
all
skip
the.
the lot consolidation part.
Right.
Okay. Okay, and then do you want me to read all of these?
Oh, you could highlight them. You could speak to incorporating the director's memo and then just kind of.
Will that clarify
yeah,
everything?
bullet
Okay.
points.
All right, then,
Also include the fire department's comments and the engineering department's comments.
That's in.
I think they're in the
I
memo,
think they're
yeah.
all in
They're
here.
on there too?
They're in
Yeah,
there.
they're all
I
dated.
just wanted to make sure we're covered.
Thank you.
But that's what I'm saying, I don't have to go through
No,
and read
but I
all 8.
approve.
Okay.
No, I would
They already
suggest you
verified
speak
they
to
got it.
incorporating that those recommendations as contingencies.
Okay, then I will move for site plan approval and incorporate the contingencies stated in the August 15th, 2017 memorandum from our Director of Planning and Community Development, Robert S. Franklin. Himself, in the flesh. And that is regarding to recommend site plan approval condition for the proposed mobile gas station site plan.
Second.
Excellent, we have a motion and a second.
Who made the
Oops.
second? Oh.
Me.
And we'd like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Coombs?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for doing this. It's one of the sites in Solon that we really are excited that you're here to get it back up and running and make it a nice, callable part of our neighborhood. Thank you for doing that for us. And you'll have to come back to City Council meeting on August 21st, 7 o'clock caucus, and I'll tell you what to do from in there.
Okay,
My
thank you
my
very
only
much.
comment, I'm glad you're coming in and doing the approval. I'm going to miss George Nara, who's a great mechanic, so we're losing something but gaining something else.
The sandwiches, absolutely.
Right.
Can you repair cars too?
Thank you.
Thank
to
you.
give us an opportunity to serve in Seoul.
Thank you for doing it for us. We appreciate it. Okay, I do understand we do have 3 minors this evening. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Great guy. A couple times with SBF. Just amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, three minors. At 6270 Somme Center Road, corner of Bainbridge and Somme, you have the Walgreens, of course. And what they want to do there, they want to add some bollards to the site, orient it this way, Somme, Brainerd, and the Walgreens. And along the back of the building, there's several bollards that were approved in the past that were yellow bollards. They simply want to put yellow coverings over the bollards. That's just continuing the existing situation. On the front of the building, this is the front facing Somme. They want to add 7 new bollards along the front of the building. Of course, these will need to be ultimately approved by fire and everybody else, but they would be not yellow bollards. They would actually be gray bollards.
What's there now?
I'm sorry?
There's nothing there now?
No.
Accessible signs, accessible parking signs. That's
Yeah.
Fine.
What's the purpose of that, Rob?
Keep cars from
Safety,
driving
keep
into
cars from driving into the building, yep.
the metal posts are not stopping people from driving in. That's what's going on.
Occasionally it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sounds good. Thank you. Perfect.
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, this is pending approval, final approval for occupancy permit, but since we're not going to have another meeting until September, I did want to show a minor change that they wanted to make to this building at 5845 Harper Road. This would be McDowell Homes. And it's primarily offices. On the back of the building, there's an area where there is some overhead doors. They simply want to, in this area here, they want to replace these doors, which hopefully you can see better than I can see it. They would fill it in, put a man door, and put some glass in this area as part of the office. So it's on the back of the building.
Perfect.
Okay, and then the final element, the final issue, and they just keep getting more minor as we go along here, is on the building where the Marriott, the project where the Marriott's being torn down on the Slam Jams portion of the building. We don't actually have that elevation. We have the existing building. Simply the changing out the lights, extremely minor issue. On this side, they were going to have 2 wall packs. They'd have 3, and on the back, they'd go from 9 down to 5. Again, extremely minor issue.
It looks wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this point, I would go ahead and like to ask if there are any comments from our commission members, and I would like to start with the mayor, please.
2 announcements. One, I'd like to congratulate our fire department for being a recipient of the American Heart Association Award. The Solon Fire Department achieved the 2017 mission Lifeline EMS Silver Plus Level Recognition Award. This award is based upon achievements that are identified through our agencies, our fire departments, the data that we collect that is the care that we delivered in 2016. And we're fortunate to have the best people and the resources to provide the necessary EMS services to our community. So Joe, if you could take that back to the department. Congratulations to everyone on that award. And secondly, a construction notice. This is for Aurora Road east of Som Center, the Chase Bank site. They began saw cutting the pavement across 3 lanes on Aurora Road at the Chase Bank site today. Precision Engineering will be working Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to connect the sewer laterals across the street at the same location. And then pavement repairs are scheduled for daytime at 9 a.m. Thursday or Friday, provided traffic maintenance works well on Tuesday. So again, two-way traffic will be maintained, but if you can avoid that area, probably be a good idea to avoid it in the next couple days. Thank you.
Thank you. Good advice. Thank you.
No comment?
Thank you. Mr. Newberry?
It's been a long time since we met, but I would like to thank the city and everybody that was involved, the rec department, police, fire, everybody else that was involved with Home Days. It was a tremendous event. I'd like to thank, I'm going to give credit to the mayor for the weather, because she did a great job. But it's always a special event, and I was very happy to be there on all 3 days.
Excellent. Councilman Palunas?
Nothing tonight.
Councilman Couture? No? And fire engineering? No? Mr. Franklin?
Nothing tonight.
Attorney Stolarski?
No comments this evening.
No? I will ask if there are any comments for the audience, but we could turn the cameras around. You see we're empty totally, which is rare. But so I'll go ahead and ask for a...
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we would like to vote, please.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mayor Drucker?
Yes.
Mr. Mazer?
Yes.
Mr. Newberry?
Yes.
Mr. Palunas?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
wow.